Hi, my name is Richard Azerga from Microsoft. In this video, we're going to look at how you can subscribe to an Office 365 connector for your group from within a mobile application. So the two typical scenarios for connecting to a connector are from the actual group in Office 365. You can go to the Connectors tab. You can find the connector you want in the connector catalog. So there's a whole bunch in here, and go ahead and click Add. So that's kind of the primary way you see people adding connectors to their group. The other really popular way is from a third-party website. So in this case, here's like a just a simple little, it's kind of like a Craigslist type of website, and you can see up in the top right, there's a Connect to Office 365 button, and that actually sends the user through a flow of selecting the group they want to connect it to, and then the third-party website gets a webhook that it can start sending data into Office 365. So this flow, this from a third-party website, as I was looking at it, I said, this is something that you could easily leverage in a mobile application as well, using something like a browser control or a in-app browser type of plugin. And so I thought I would emulate how to do that. So what I've done is I've first registered my own custom connector here. You can see here in the connectors developer dashboard, I've created this bills list too. I've gone through and specified all the details. Really the most important thing here is this reply URL down at the very bottom. This is basically telling Office 365 once a user has consented to your connector, where do we need to send the details back to that third party? And those details include the group that it's connected to and the webhook that the third party can send data into Office 365 with. Um, so once you register this, it creates a little what we call a button markup. This is the exact markup that you can see rendering this button in this web page up in the upper right hand part of the screen. And so if you look at the details, it's really just doing like an OAuth flow. It's doing a redirect, the user does everything it needs to, and then you notice there is a callback URL that's specified for where the details need to get sent back to. And so my thought was, again, I'm going to leverage a browser control to open up this URL that this is redirecting to, and just watch for changes in the URL. So most browser controls you can wire into events to say, hey, when the URL changes, I want to know about it. And so that's exactly what I've done, and I'm looking for this callback to show up in that browser control. So I'll show this to you, and then we'll run it, and hopefully you'll see how you can achieve this. So this happens to be in TypeScript and using Cordova, but the same concept applies to almost any mobile platform. Every mobile platform has a browser controller, some in-app browser that you can use. And so you can see here I'm using and I'll zoom in on this a little bit, I'm using the Cordova in-app browser, and I'm opening that exact URL that I just showed you there on the registration generated. So if I zoom out, you can see it's just going to the connectors/connect, and then it's passing some parameters that include, if I scroll out to the very end, so it has my connector ID, which is a GUID, but down here at the end is that callback URL. Then on the browser control reference, I added a listener that says anytime a new page loads up in that browser, let me know about it. And so I'm just listening for new pages. Once I see that local host, or in this case, whatever my callback URL is, that's what I'm looking for, I can go pull out all the details from it. So you can see I'm pulling off the webhook and the group. So let me run this in just a little emulator to show you what it looks like. So I'm in Visual Studio Code. We're going to run this on an iOS emulator, but hopefully, again, you'll see how this could ultimately be run just about anywhere. So here's my emulator. And the app should load here in just a moment. There it is, it's loading. And this is just I'm using Ionic 2 and Angular 2, so nothing really special here. It's just kind of the hello world where they have some tabs. But on this About tab, you can see that I said you can connect this mobile application to Office 365 so activity you perform can be sent into an Office 365 group. All you have to do is connect to Office 365. So I'll click on this Connect to Office 365 and you can see it's loading that browser control. I'll go ahead and sign in with my credentials. And it's going to ask me to select the group I want. That's part of that flow. So I can go and select, here's all my Office 365 groups. I'll select this Project Falcon group and go ahead and say allow. And then once it's done, it's going to close that control, and you can see I now, in my mobile application, I know the group and I have the webhook to start sending data into Office 365. So in this case, I could, from my mobile application, send this data back to like a web service that I manage so that I can send things server side, or I could even do it from the mobile application theoretically. But the idea is that you can easily achieve this flow. And just to kind of prove this out, I'll go to my group and you can actually see there's some new activity and it says you are now connected the Bills List 2 application to Project Falcon. So hopefully you can see this is totally achievable from a mobile application. You don't have to have a web application to do it, and you can do some really great things with Office 365 connectors. It's a great way to get third-party data into Office 365 so that people can collaborate on it. So thanks, and check out the code.